Fun. Fun. Kind of sounds like fun. Fun? Hello and welcome, my dear scale modelers, to my small hobby YouTube channel. My name is Tomo, and today we're going to be taking a look at a truck. We're going to be taking a look at Das WERK's FAUN L900 new kit-ish. It's been released in 2020 and it's 100% Das WERK production. For those of you who do not know, Das WERK is a German scale model manufacturer. Smooth. I think that for the majority of people, Das WERK is probably well known for the collaboration with Tacom for their Panthers mid, late and early, but they also make other stuff, mainly German World War II stuff, which is fitting since they're a German company. They also make this guy, the Soviet UAZ-69, but technically this is East German vehicle, so that kind of counts. Anyway, but they also have some rather what-if scenario, like this Kugelpanzer and this JUE-126 Wally, and I do believe this one too, and this Panzer Kleine what?
Panzer Kleinzerstörer-Rutscher. Panzer Kleinzerstörer-Rutscher.
Yeah, what she said. Anyway, these are the kind of models that they produce, so you can check out their webpage in your own free time. But now, it's time to take a look inside the box. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Das WERK's FAUN L900 hardtop and D567 softtop truck. 2-in-1, yes, 2-in-1. This is brand new Das WERK production. It was released last year. Model number 35001, 1/35 scale model, and price for this is around 40 to 45 euros, depending on where you live in Europe. Across the pond, I don't know, check your local hobby shop, please. Thank you. This particular model has quite a few parts. It has 12 sprues and well over 200 individual pieces. And a manual, well, 2 manuals. We have 2 manuals because this is a 2-in-1 model kit. To clarify, 2-in-1 means that you have a model inside a box that you can build either as a military version or a civilian version, hence 2-in-1. So what are my thoughts on the quality of the sprues and the individual parts? Well, you can see it for yourself. They're great, for a lack of a better word. They're not fantastic, but they're great. The reason that I say they're not fantastic is because some parts do need a little bit more attention, especially the smaller ones, and there is a seam line on all the round parts, as you can see here, and then you see on the suspension and also on the exhaust. So I can imagine there is quite a lot of scraping to be had or sanding, and that could be a very dangerous procedure if you are too keen with a knife or sandpaper, because you can quickly lose shape of an object if you are, well, just hacking away at the seam line. And I think this is the perfect example of what I'm talking about. This rather long piece of plastic is the exhaust pipe that has some fringing, some flash around it, but there's a really long seam line that goes all the way. Now, it's not an integral part of the build, it's basically on the bottom, and if you don't turn it over, you're never gonna see it, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't bother me. It does. While other details such as this load bed is absolutely fantastic. I mean, look at the wood grain on it. It's just phenomenal. They're like real planks. The dashboard is also very nicely detailed. You can see everything is raised. The cabin, the covers for the engine, the soft top cover for the military version. It has really nice creases and some texture, and this little linkage for the steering. Overall, I think that Das WERK company made an absolutely fantastic job at representing and replicating all the pieces for this rather unusual transport truck, especially if you consider that there's not many of them left. But the attention to detail is not limited to the parts themselves, it's also in the way that the truck stands on its 6 wheels. That is why you get 3 types of leaf suspension to represent different types of load on the load bed. So you have empty, medium, and loaded. But that is not the only attention to detail, as you will see in a moment as we move along this video. Here in the next shot we see the second version of the FAUN, the D567, the civilian version with a hard top, which actually has a different type of cab, but that's mainly due to the fact that the doors are full and of course it's a hard top, so you know, the name just tells you everything you need to know really. The plastic is nice and soft, it has a little bit of a matte finish, and the attachment points where the sprue meets the part is relatively okay. This is the sprue that contains the wheel assembly. It has 6 individual pieces to make one wheel, and this is, I think, the difference in the previous iteration of this model where you had rubber tires. This time you have plastic. Whether this is better, you be the judge. Another very good feature about this model is the clear part sprue, which is fan-freaking-tastic. It's very clear, very sharp, no distortion. Look at it, it's crystal clear. The last thing that you get inside the box are the 2 manuals, some brass pipes, and a decal sheet of paper. 2 types, civilian and military. If you choose to do so, you have some brass pipes included in the kit to replicate the roof bows on the load bed. The decals provided in the kit are also fantastic. Here we see the civilian version, which is very sharp, clear, and very well printed. And here we have the military version of the decal sheet of paper. And throughout the filming here, I've actually changed lenses to go really close so you can see the absolute insanity of the printed decals. You can just about make out the numbers on the speedometer as well as all the emblems and on the license plates. The last thing here are the 2 manuals. So we have the military and the civilian version. The differences between them are minute, whilst the military version is basically the first one, the main one, and has 27 pages. The second one only has around, I think, 11 or 12 pages and essentially just covers the differences. So you have to be careful if you're trying to do a civilian version to take a look at the second one as well, because the changes start with the chassis. In general, my opinion is that these are pretty phenomenal manuals. They're different from other manufacturers. They're more fancy, I would say. But is that a good thing or a bad thing? Well, it all depends. If a manual loses its purpose of telling you how the thing goes together in a very calm and organized way, then no, it's not. But in this case, I must say that it's pretty well thought out and laid out. It gives you a sense of calm and clarity that some manuals kind of tend to lose. Here we see one modification to the military version where you can do the roof bows for the load bed, and there are actually 2 ways to display them: deployed or stacked together. Besides the obvious of how to put it together, they also tell you a little bit history on the truck and what types of loads you could expect on these load beds, so you can get an idea of what you could actually do to enhance the model if you choose to do so. The other manual, of course, is just a little bit of a upgrade to the military version. Essentially, you have to modify the chassis and the cabin, as well as to assemble the wheels, because in the military version of the manual you have the option to put rubber wheels, but this kit doesn't have rubber wheels, so it can be a little bit confusing. Just follow the manuals, take a look at them both, and then you'll decide. Also, one thing to mention is that the wheels are assembled in a particular way and are supposed to be attached on the truck in a particular way because they have a flat bottom surface, so they have to be attached with a flat bottom surface down, otherwise you're gonna have a little bit of a wonky wheel. Beside the paint jobs, there are other smaller details that are different, but you'll see that when you buy the model. And so we come to the end of another review. Thank you so very much for watching. If you haven't, thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing, and I'll see you again in the next one. Bye. It's really seen and broken. And this Panzer Kleinrichterroute. And this Panzer Kleinen what?
Panzerkleinzerstörerrutscher.
Panzer Kleinzerstörerrutscher. God, I'm suck.